Some buildings become eternal. The pyramids have stood for 4,500 years. The Colosseum survived the fall of Rome, and the Parthenon still watches over Athens. These monuments outlasted the empires that built them, proof that stone and ambition can defy time itself. But what about the buildings that didn't survive? The ones just as magnificent, just as important, just as legendary, yet vanished completely. In this video, we reconstruct these lost structures using historical records, archaeology, and ancient descriptions, allowing us to step inside places that haven't existed for centuries. We begin in ancient Babylon, around 600 BC. What you're seeing isn't reality, it's interpretation. For centuries, artists imagined the Hanging Gardens as towering green terraces rising from desert stone. But the truth is, we don't actually know what they looked like, or even if they existed at all. Ancient writers described layered platforms filled with trees and exotic plants, with water flowing from one level to the next, a garden suspended above the earth itself. The legend says a king built it for his homesick wife, recreating the mountains she missed in the middle of a desert. But no Babylonian records mention it, and the people who described it, Greek and Roman writers, never saw it themselves. They were repeating stories. Some historians now believe the gardens weren't in Babylon at all, but in Nineveh, a city known for advanced irrigation and royal gardens. So what are we looking at? History or myth? When evidence disappears, imagination takes its place. From myth to certainty, in 331 BC, a new city rose on Egypt's coast, Alexandria, and beside its harbor stood one of the tallest structures the ancient world had ever seen. The Lighthouse of Alexandria rose over 100 meters high, dominating the skyline for over 1,000 years. Built in three massive tiers, a square base, an octagonal center, and a circular tower crowned with fire, it guided sailors across the sea. Imagine approaching after weeks in darkness and suddenly seeing a column of light rising above the horizon. Some accounts describe a giant mirror reflecting sunlight by day and amplifying fire by night. Possibly myth, possibly early engineering. Unlike the gardens, this structure was real. We have coins, ruins, and eyewitness descriptions, and yet it still fell. Over centuries, earthquakes tore it apart, and by the 15th century, its stones were reused to build a fortress. Gone, like the great library of Alexandria, which once held the knowledge of entire civilizations. Now to one of the most misunderstood structures in history, the Colossus of Rhodes. For centuries, people imagined a giant statue straddling the harbor with ships passing beneath it, an iconic image, but completely impossible. A structure like that would have blocked the harbor during construction, and no ancient source ever described it that way. The real Colossus stood beside the harbor, over 30 meters tall, built from bronze plates over an iron frame, a statue of Helios, the sun god. It was a victory monument, created after Rhodes survived a massive siege by melting down enemy weapons and turning them into a god. But it didn't last. In 226 BC, an earthquake snapped it at the knees and it collapsed. And then something strange happened. They didn't rebuild it. For over 800 years, the ruins remained where they fell, and people still traveled across the world just to see it. Even broken, it was legendary, until it disappeared completely, its remains sold as scrap and carried away by over 900 camels. The statue stood for just 56 years, but its legend has lasted over 2,000. Not all wonders were built to inspire, some were built to dominate. Carthage, a maritime empire that controlled the Mediterranean, built a harbor unlike anything the world had ever seen. The Kothon, a circular military port designed to hide and deploy an entire fleet, capable of holding over 200 warships protected behind walls. At its center stood a command island where admirals could coordinate operations. This wasn't just infrastructure, it was a weapon, and Rome knew it. When Rome defeated Carthage in 146 BC, they didn't just conquer it, they erased it, destroying the harbor so completely that almost nothing remains today. In Rome, power wasn't just shown through monuments, but through engineering. The baths of Caracalla could hold over 1,600 people, filled with pools, libraries, and gardens, serving as the social center of the city. But the real marvel was hidden underground, where water flowed from distant mountains, heated by massive furnaces and distributed through complex systems beneath the floors. Hot air moved through hollow walls, controlling temperature across entire rooms. It was an industrial system hidden beneath luxury, unmatched in Europe for over 1,000 years after Rome fell. As Rome declined in the west, a new capital rose in the east, Constantinople. At its heart stood the Great Palace, not a single building, but an entire city of throne rooms, gardens, and private harbors covering over 400,000 square meters. From here, emperors ruled for over 800 years. Imagine walking its halls, as an emperor commanding an empire, as a soldier watching for betrayal, or as a merchant waiting for a single decision that could change everything, while the roar of 100,000 voices from the nearby hippodrome echoed through the walls. And then it was abandoned, dismantled, and forgotten, leaving only fragments behind. Some structures weren't lost to time, but to ambition. Old St. Peter's Basilica stood as the holiest church in Christianity for over 1,200 years, drawing pilgrims from across the world, until in 1506 it was demolished on the orders of the Pope to build something greater, erasing centuries of history in pursuit of architectural glory. Others were lost in an instant. Old St. Paul's Cathedral once dominated London's skyline with its towering spire, until lightning struck and fire consumed it. Over a century later, the Great Fire of London finished what lightning had started, melting stone and collapsing the structure, reducing 600 years of history to ruins in a matter of hours. Not all losses were physical, some were cultural. The Globe Theatre, where the works of William Shakespeare first came to life, hosted plays like Hamlet, Macbeth, and King Lear, performed in daylight before crowded audiences. And yet, after less than 50 years, it was demolished, leaving behind a legacy far greater than the building itself. And finally, a structure destroyed not by time, but by revolution. The Bastille, once a fortress and later a prison, became a symbol of royal power and oppression. On July 14, 1789, it was stormed by revolutionary crowds, not for what it was, but for what it represented. Within months, it was dismantled stone by stone and erased from the city. 10 structures, all gone, yet their stories remain. Because in the end, buildings don't just shape history, they become it. Leave a comment below and subscribe for more amazing videos like this.